In entering upon this course of instruction, each of you should, so far as possible, lay aside for the time being all previous theories and beliefs. By so doing, you will be saved the trouble of trying all the way through the show to put, quote, new wine into old wineskins, end quote. Luke chapter 5, verse 37. If there's anything as we proceed which you don't understand or agree with, just let it lie passively in your mind until you have enjoyed the entire show. For many statements that would at first arouse antagonism and discussion will be cleared and easily accepted a little farther on. After the show is over, if you wish to return to your old beliefs and ways of living, you are at perfect liberty to do so. But for the time being, be willing to become as a little child, for said the Master in spiritual things, quote, except you become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. If at times there seems to be repetition, please remember, the Self Love Show is a lesson, not a lecture. Free Chief Malik, free Larry Hoover.
Right? They just want perv on them.
Okay, that was interesting. That was very interesting. All right, y'all, we in the building. Appreciate y'all. Hold on, y'all. This is some BS. Karen, get your head out your butt. All right, y'all, we about there. Appreciate y'all. All the way through the show. I don't know what that was all about. It's never happened before.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
You got some fat backs? You got some chicken gizzards? Fat? I want some slave food. Fat backs. Pork chops and applesauce. Free the guys, y'all. Free all the guys. Every single last one of them. Prison slavery. All right, y'all. Welcome to another edition. Karen, can you bring that beat back? Bring that beat back, Karen. Bring that beat back. Yeah.
Self Love Show, giving you more than vitamins and minerals. Food for your soul, information and plans integral to making your mind grow. With more growth and development, BS is irrelevant to the intelligent. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is what we represent. It's the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show. We do it for our people. The Self Love Show, it's the Self Love Show, it's the Self Love Show. To expose the no equal. The Self Love Show, the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show. Tory Wordsmith, 9 meals. The Self Love Show, the Self Love Show. You know how the story goes. It's the Self Love
Show in the building. Oh, praise to Yahshua. Okay. Yes, sir. First off, the views expressed in today's pod are those of the hosts and guests and are not necessarily reflective of TATN, ESPN, or any affiliates. Welcome to another edition of the Self Love Show on This Ain't That Network, or as we affectionately call it, TATN. This is a spot where we go ahead and dive extremely deep into the intersections of mind, body, spirit, and culture. This is your co-host, 9 Millie. All praise to the ancestors, the Most High. And last but certainly not least, my late beloved Mama Sky. Miss you much. Throughout history, the Moors, those of melanin, have been shrouded in mystery, power, and controversy. From our profound influence on European civilization. Thank you, Karen. To our presence across Africa, the Americas, and beyond. Our legacy is undeniable. Yet, despite our contributions to art, science, and spirituality, we've often been feared, demonized, demonetized, and marginalized. Ever walk down the street and they cross the street? You know what I mean? But you thought, oh yeah, I'm a young punk, I'm a Pookie and a Ray Ray. I can, I understand their fear, right? That's what you thought. It's because you're a Pookie and a Ray Ray and you're walking around with a bunch of Pookies and Ray Rays. Yeah, it's acceptable. Then you get older, you're wearing a business suit. Same thing happens. You had black tie affairs. Same thing happens. Okay. Marginalized out there. Why does society respond to the Moors with such unease? Is it mere prejudice, or is it something deeper at play here? Many argue that the fear surrounding the Moors stems from centuries of political and social rivalry out there. Our advancements in architecture, mathematics, and medicine during our reign in medieval Spain challenged long-standing narratives, unsettling the established order. Others believe that this fear is fueled by plain and simple, jealousy and unwillingness to acknowledge the brilliance and resilience that has defined Moorish identity. Could it be that the historical erasure is an attempt to suppress our legacy, which is too powerful to fit neatly into conventional history and lies? Beyond intellect and influence, there are whispers of something more. Ancestral whispers, echoes. An ancestral connection to nature, energy, and knowledge that defies mainstream understanding. Many have suggested that the Moors possess hidden abilities, occult even. They told you that was evil. That transcend the physical, tapping into spiritual forces long dismissed and or feared by the so-called modern physical. You can't smell it, taste it, touch it, or screw it. It's not real modern world. Could this alienation be the result of a deeper recognition that our wisdom holds truths that disrupt accepted realities and cultural structures? Today's episode of the Self Love Show will dive extremely deep into the heart of this mystery. We'll explore the historical narratives, cultural stigmas, and untold stories that shape global perceptions of the copper-colored, melanated, whatever you're calling us, Moors. Okay. Are we feared for our brilliance, ostracized for our influence, and or suppressed for something even greater? Let's uncover these truths together. Join us as we're going to peel back the stinky layers of this onion, fear, myth, and hope that surround this enigmatic topic. So, whip out your self-love vision and your 10 hats, because this is the Self Love Show and this is the revolution. And the revolution will not be on YouTube. These are lessons, not lectures. We're live in living color. Today is Tuesday, 5/20/2025 at about 7:13 in the great city of Shy Marvelous. That's right, Shy Nagasaki. And as always, you cats can be anywhere in this magnanimous universe, but thankfully, we all chose to be here together. That's right, here together. Bear down, King. What you manifesting today, bro?
Love, man. You know me. I'm manifesting love. What you manifesting?
Saying good, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm a warrior, a prayer warrior out there. And but love just the same, bro. Some say harsh, some say tough, others say, you know what I mean? But self-love just the same, good fella.
No doubt, no doubt.
What's been going on in your neck of the shot?
Man, it's been going down in Chi-Town. Boy, this weather is up and down. You know how it is this part of the year. Crazy. 90 degrees, and then it's raining sideways. And
Yeah,
50
and
next hour.
you're just gonna not mention the biblical dust storm, huh?
The dust storm.
Biblical. It's never happened.
Yeah, it was weird. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was not.
A lot of breadcrumbs out there. They found a caterpillar out there that was eating meat. Air quotes ran that tape of the squirrels out there eating meat. There's something going on. There's a frequency. There's a vibration. There's something happening. No need to be afraid. It's just there's something happening there, fella.
Yeah, it was weird. I was gonna get to that. It was raining sideways, and man, that storm came on so fast. They said it was gonna storm though, so like, but it was sunny, and then it started drizzling, and then it got dark. I was like, I mean, from the time I was on the north side working a gig, and by the time I got to the south side, it was dark. I was like, what is this? And then wind started blowing crazy, crazy. There was so many trees knocked down and stuff.
What did science say about it? Did the Pope have anything to do with that?
The who?
Pope Leo.
Oh.
What are they saying about the dust storm, bro? This is biblical. Now, I look at it. Now, I had my first dust storm. I was in Palm Springs, but that's to be expected. But I thought it was ironic, Noop, that I just happened to pull up in Palm Springs, drop some people off, and then boom, tumbleweed. Boom, tumbleweed. And I look, I'm like, what the hell is that? Yeah, it's a dust storm. It's a dust storm. You better let your windows up. Oh, boy, I let those windows up, and the dust was coming this way. And it's a good thing the vehicle wasn't pointed. If your grill self is pointed towards the dust, guess what?
Yeah.
Oh, it blows all up in there and it tears everything. Oh, it just so happened. Glory to, you know what I mean? I was parked the perfect way and it just passed. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I didn't get to experience this one like that. I just the sky was a different color. It was, dust colored orange or whatever, but I didn't experience any of the actual dust.
What are they saying cause it? They blaming Pope Leo, Donald Trump? What are they saying? How come? Yeah,
They just said it's never happened before, and that it's, they ain't not even trying to give a reason for it, at least what I saw.
Yeah. All right, maybe it's the Anunnaki. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. So I'll keep pushing. All right, there, fella. Yeah, fascinating. And big ups to all our sponsors. Midwest Festivals presents Ancestral
Echoes.
That's right. You can hear your soul whisper to you, your higher self, your lower self. You're going to hear some beautiful music. Get involved. You're going to be around beautiful people. You're going to be camping out there with nature. It's a full experience that you will remember into eternity. You on there, fella?
Oh, yes. And I'm so tired that I completely forgot that we had a silent party fundraiser. Outstanding. This past Saturday.
outstanding whew, for Ancestor Echoes. Man.
Silent party. What's that? You don't play no music. Everybody
No, it's
gotta be
the
quiet.
parties where everybody's got on
Just take a
headphones.
silent party.
Got headphones, and then we got 3 DJs, and you got a switch on your headphones where you can
I
listen to.
like that. I like that a
So
lot.
everybody's, you can get to the
Uh-huh.
DJ you want,
I
and
like
still
that.
everybody be together. It
Look
was,
at
man,
that.
it was outstanding.
Who came up with that? That's brilliant.
Man, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. That is a great, great idea. You got different frequencies out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Maybe one day Ancestral Echoes will after a certain time we'll switch to the silent party and all those DJs who want to be on there.
Yes, I was having a suggestion about that in one of the nights or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see. I mean, Creeper owns the system, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't know.
We'll see. Because it's all about unity out there.
Yeah, I still want to hear the speakers though, I think.
Oh, yeah, you got to have it all. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Maybe after hours or something. All right. And then you got Tay Mills Aesthetics, you guys, multicultural skin, body, and weight loss pro if you're ever in Southern Cal. I just dropped that link in the chat. Esthetician, And then we got Bella B. You need some swag, Bella B Designs 365 at gmail.com. I'll drop that in the chat as well. And Gym Recovery. Gym Recovery. You need a toe, not a camel toe, but if you need a toe, you call Gym Recovery. Gym Recovery out there. All right, there, fella. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever here. All right. What we got today? What to expect? We got the Self Luv Show quote of the day. And then we have our more growth and development video. That's our platform. It's very short. And then we have tattoo tyranny. We're going to show our government interacting with you, the citizen. Okay. And we're going to decide if we like it or if we don't like it. Tattoo tyranny. Your tattoo tears. And then we got dome teaser. Your mind is awful if you waste it. I put it into the chat, the riddle, that dome teaser. So you guys have until the end of the show to solve it. And it looks like Brother Wordsmith has once again solved the dome teaser according to our personal chat. So then after the dome teaser, we'll get on topic. All right. That's why are the copper colored, melanated Moors, people of Kemet, worldwide, feared, demonized, demonetized, and alienated. We're going to attempt to get to the bottom of that today. This brother and I, we have some fascinating theories, some, through reading and some through discovery and, some through contemplation. And then we close it out with my personal favorite part of the whole show, and that's when this brother Wordsmith's going to summarize the whole shebang in a bit of prose off the top of the dome, right off the rip, as we say, back on the half block. Looking forward to that. Y'all do stick around for that at the end of the show because it's genius. Pure, shut up, Dutta, man. All right. All right, announcements, fella. You got any announcements out there, fella?
Look out. We got another fundraiser going on for Ancestor Echoes. And I'll get that stuff in the chat. We're selling jerk chicken salads. Tasty, delicious. Nice salads. We did it a few weeks ago. And it was nice and worked out very well. And we're bringing it back. So I'll get that in the chat as well.
Jerk chicken salad. That sounds pretty good. You gotta have a lot of avocado in there to cut that, huh?
It's lettuce and green peppers, onions, and things of that nature, and then jerk chicken on it. And then you some dressing. Could get ranch or Italian.
No jerk sauce. Mix a little ranch with that jerk sauce, boy. I'd be cold.
No, I'm not giving any jerk sauce. The meat is jerked.
All right. All right, y'all. Jerk fest, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Jerk fest. All right. Like, share, subscribe, please. Repost this. If there's anybody in the chat right now, any Moors out there, anybody's got melanin, anybody's got something to say, we love to hear from you. This is always interactive. As Brother Wordsmith has typed in the chat for you guys. That helps keep this thing in rotation as well. This is about all of our consciousness. We've pretended that we're all separate consciousness, and if you get to the bottom of it, we got some video to show y'all. We are one. We are one. But enough of my yapping out there. Handle your business, bro.
Yo. Let's get it. Today, welcome. We're breaking down why are Moors worldwide feared, demonized, as well as alienated on the Self Love Show. As always, we have a very important video I need you to check out. The More Growth and Development platform we're building the Self Love Nation off of. As always, for that, we have the Self Love Show quote of the day. The Moors were not just conquerors, but also torchbearers of knowledge and culture. Once again, the Moors were not just conquerors, but also torchbearers of knowledge and culture. The Knights Templar.
Were they swarthy?
Knights Templar?
Yeah.
Knowing
history, they could have been swarthy.
Some of them were, but not all of them.
Well, yeah, drop dead gorgeous. That's I remember seeing them on TV.
Well, on TV they got that's crapulous.
Silverback More Growth and Development platform.
Got you a TV guide.
Number
you don't have
one,
a spiritual guide.
Repair our nation via reparations. We demand our silverback. Number two, to connect our breadwinners with our activists. Number three, show an accurate depiction of African American Chi-Town. 4, shine a light on positive influence. 5, heal our community one person at a time. 6, to provide an unfiltered platform for our influencers. 7, recycle the black dollar. 8, to provide mentors for the mentorless.
Nina Ross.
9, to close the gap between us and our pink kinsmen.
Number 10, protect our women, children, and men by any and all means necessary.
Amen to that. The people say amen. And speaking of amen, if you missed last week's show, do check that out. We unpacked for the first time on the Self Love Show demonic possession out there, symptoms, cases, cures. We had Pastor Bryant Stewart pull up. We had biologist Stacy Miner, an entrepreneur, and she's in seminary school, pull up. And we're giving some firsthand accounts of stuff, huh, fella?
Yeah, it was, advise you to check it out. Check it out.
Facts. Check that out. And I'm dropping the poll. Just dropped a poll into the chat, you guys. Click on that and vote. It's totally your mama-ness. All right. Your mama not gonna know how you voted. Well, consciously they will. Everybody knows everything at some point. We'll all know everything about all of us. It's all gonna get downloaded. We're gonna know everything. We're gonna know more. I'll know more about self-love if I leave this plane than he'll know about himself right now. Okay. All right. In my opinion, what most at the heart of racism? You don't know what's in anybody's heart. Can't judge a man. You know, you're going to throw out that Old Testament and that Torah, you know, and that Quran, you're going to throw it right out. Can't judge a man, you know. But what's most at the heart of racism? Number one, ignorance. Number two, hatred. You roll right out of that womb and you look over there at that young pink kid in that sandbox. You know what I mean? Hatred out there. Fear. All right. Fear. You know, fear of the Black Planet. I think it was Chuck D and Public Enemy and Flavor Flav, who doesn't get enough credit for his genius, who had a lot to do with that. And last but not least, jealousy, which is one of the 7 deadly sins, according to scripture. All right. Brother Wordsmith and I will let you know what we went with. Okay. Right now, ignorance is in lead. Pulling up a close second is jealousy. All right. So you guys still have time to let yourself be heard. Click that link, most recent link in there, and vote, and then pop back in here and enjoy the Self Love Show. All righty. Today's topic: why are Moors worldwide fear, demonetized, demonized, and alienated? Okay. Why? That's what we're covering today. But before we do that, Brother Wordsmith, did you see 9 at 9? You know, on the show, we asked the guests what advice would they give their 9-year-old self?
Yeah.
Imagine you're this 9-year-old kid in this next video, fair use, and then postulate on what advice you'd be giving yourself if you pop back right now. Fair use. Drop dead gorgeous. Smart. These are just kids. You can't, you know. Yeah.
It's a shocking standoff between deputies and 2 brothers armed with a loaded gun.
Put it down for me, okay?
You're not in trouble, but you have to drop that. And
Drone footage shows a 9-year-old boy hiding the gun behind his back. His 7-year-old brother tries to grab it. Then the boys start fighting over the loaded weapon.
Drop it, buddy.
Put it down, babe.
The 7-year-old boy takes possession.
It's okay. You're not in trouble, buddy.
Deputies continued calling out orders to the boys, desperately trying to stop a tragedy from happening.
Can you put it down for me?
Just put it down.
The boys, wearing Minecraft and Star Wars themed pajamas, are in their neighbor's backyard in Albuquerque. Officers
I'm glad
decide
they
it's
ain't
time
black.
to fire a non-lethal
Man.
rubber bullet.
Drop it. Drop it.
It's a perfect shot, landing right between the brothers. But watch, the 9-year-old responds by raising the gun and taking aim at the deputies.
Man.
Officers say he actually pulled the trigger, but thank goodness the gun malfunctioned. Another rubber bullet is fired, and this time the deputies are able to move in as the boys try to hide.
Drop it now.
I don't even have the gun.
they hid, bro.
Deputies yank the gun away and take the brothers into custody. 7
don't have a
officers
gun.
swarm. I spoke to Sheriff John Allen, who says law enforcement has been called to the boys' home 50 times.
This could have turned out in
50
the worst
times
nightmare
they've
for
been
the whole
called out
nation.
there.
Those deputies there, they're still reeling and having to deal with this, that they might have had to use deadly force in a 7 and a 9-year-old.
You have a 7 and a 9-year-old with a loaded gun. How in the world did they get it?
But there's been violence in the home. We know that the father who is incarcerated now taught them how to use the firearm.
The sheriff credits cool heads and the sheriff's department's drone for the outcome.
Bottom line, it saved 2 children's lives. It gave real-time information to our deputies to make sure that we're, preserving life.
The boys are still living with their mother, but the sheriff wants to have them removed and placed in foster care. So far, no arrests have been made, but criminal charges are pending the ongoing investigation.
Wow.
How would that have shaked out if that was the colored family? If the coloreds.
Oh, two dead children.
Yeah, Pookie is in jail. You know, that skinhead that was on there. Yeah, his dad taught him everything. He's in jail. Right. Yeah, somebody would have got shot.
At least one of them, and they'd be charged with the other one.
and they'd have charged the mom with murder, and those children wouldn't have been. They would have been out of the house a long time ago. 50 times out there for violence.
Yeah, that they would have been taken a long time ago. You're correct.
All right. What advice would you give your 9-year-old self if that was you?
And drop the weapon.
The 7-year-old was in theta. I think he thought it was a whole game or something, huh? The 9-year-old looked like he was still in theta too, though.
Yeah, I mean, he was taught, because once that thing was shot between them, boy, he raised that weapon like.
Didn't he? Didn't he? And pulled it.
Yeah, and pulled it.
Wow. And then took cover. Wow. Only in America, as this what we'll say. Today's topic: why are the Moors, okay, copper colored, melanated, people of Kemet, worldwide feared, demonized, demonetized, and alienated? Why? That's the question. Why? Huh? Please smash that like button, y'all. We're gonna get into it. Give us some reasons. You can start typing it in the chat. Why? All right. We got one more video to run for you guys. We like to go in on 12 over here, because it's our right. Okay. But we also like to show them when they're in a good light, right, fella? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's ABC 7, officer de-escalation. I don't know if you've seen this one, fella. Went viral.
With your descriptions, I'm not sure what this is about.
Big ups to 12. They know how to de-escalate. They could do it.
That's my gun! Use my gun! That's my gun!
Forever.
Please don't shoot me!
That is the voice of a Fountain Valley police officer who just had her gun taken away from her, begging for her life as her partner, who had been chasing her
She's
attacker
DEI
on foot,
hire.
reaches the scene.
Put it down, dude! Put it down!
That man climbs into their police cruiser and the officer opens fire. The man, who was later identified as 26-year-old Ocean McClintock, was shot and killed. This had all started when McClintock was seen trying to get into a woman's car, a passerby calling 911. When the officer found him, McClintock was initially cooperative.
I don't have to. Yeah, you do. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. In Jesus' name I pray forever. Amen.
A foot pursuit begins, and in perhaps the most tragic part of this entire encounter, it nearly ended with no further problems.
You mentioned Jesus around 12.
By then,
you in trouble.
Had reached the cruiser and the female officer, and this could have ended very differently.
The first thing I saw was Africa, vast, beautiful, and glowing with a gold.
All right. First thing I'm going to say before I hear your take is she should be encouraged to turn her badge and gun in immediately and retire from the force. And if not, she should be fired immediately. But go ahead. I want to hear your take on that whole situation there. She's a DEI hire.
Well, yeah, she's probably very much considering retiring or quitting or whatever you want to call it, because she fears for her life like never before, and she's not fit to be out there.
Did she? If that was a Pookie out there talking about Jesus, and she was so afraid in her car and fearing for her life, would she not have feared for her life enough to shoot that Pookie down like a dog right there? Could she not shoot that image of the white Jesus that she was looking at? This is psychological, bro. They fear for their life when it's us, which is apropos for the show.
Unarmed.
Yeah. Yes.
And they don't fear them when they're armed.
When they're taking their gun. And did you see the restraint that the cop showed? Hey, drop it. Now, come on, Self. You're sitting there and you holding your gun at that drop dead gorgeous Karen after taking her gun, and they got all that over the camera. They're going to pull up and give you a chance to drop it?
I don't know. They pulled up on the boy in Cleveland with a toy gun.
And pat, 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 pat.
Yeah, in less than 3 seconds.
Man, there's that dude. He told her, I think there was a longer video. I don't know if it was in there. I might have talked over it. But he told her, yeah, the next time he runs away, just let him go. Yeah, bro. This is policing in America. Man, they'd have chased Ray Ray all through that damn city. Talking about Jesus and running away. Yeah, the next time he runs away, just let him go.
Yeah. Gets away from you.
Did you see the restraint and the respect she showed for human life over her own life?
That was just stupid.
Hey, I told DX, I don't know what y'all training is, but where I'm from, don't show it if you can't blow it. You know, don't show it if you ain't gonna blow it.
Man, especially if somebody's trying to take it.
Well, he was talking about Jesus. So he knew she didn't have that in her. You know what I'm saying? He knew. Now, why he didn't drop it when the other guy came, that's beyond me. But that's what the topic is. Why are Moors worldwide feared, demonized, demonetized, and alienated? I just can't help but think. They say, oh, I'm always pulling the race card. But I guarantee you, if that was a 25-year-old Pookie or Ray Ray who pulled all of that, he wouldn't have got her gun in the first place. She'd have pulled out, I thought it was my taser, and I shot him 75 times. And then the other guy pulled up and thought it was his taser and shot him 75 times because we were afraid of that black guy. Period.
Feared for my life.
Yeah. Feared for my life. All right, dome teaser. I walk with wisdom, ancient and deep. Though history tries to put me to sleep, feared and revered, yet seldom seen. What am I, and what do I mean? You got all show to matriculate. Brother Wordsmith has gotten it all figured out. He'll let you know the answer at the end of the show if you guys are showing an inability to matriculate this. We do this show. Cats like George Floyd, R.I.P., Terry Nichols. All right. We do this with Copper 1, C1, Copper first. That means we're at the bottom. We need the most help. So you're only as strong as your quote unquote weakest link. So, you know, that's what we're doing. We're pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps. And then we got our more growth and development, which you saw the video on, is self-explanatory. We're doing this to chronicle our story as opposed to his story. All right, we're getting this data out there so that if there is reincarnation, I can come back as a little lad and be sitting in theta and watching this and sitting there, and then, you know, my new parent to come back, just stop poking your lips out. You put your lips back in your face. All right, and then so we do it for the prosody, the ones who come behind us. All right, that's what we got. Karen, we do want to play one video. It's not really a promo video, but this is kind of the theme of the show. So big ups to Karen and big ups to y'all. And we're going to get on topic. Great stuff lined up.
The first thing I saw was Africa, vast, beautiful, and glowing with a golden light. I saw ancient cities, strong civilizations, and people full of wisdom, resilience, and spiritual power. They were chosen. Jesus spoke. The world has lied about them. They are not what they have been made to believe. They were given gifts, power, and knowledge that many tried to erase. The vision shifted again. I saw chains, ships, people being taken from their homeland. I saw suffering, pain, and generations being told they were less than what they were. And then I saw something even more shocking. I saw spiritual forces working behind the scenes, intentionally suppressing the truth. Jesus turned to me and continued, "The oppression was not just physical, it was spiritual, because if they knew who they truly were, the world would change." I saw modern times, people waking up, realizing their worth, reclaiming their power. Jesus smiled. The time of revelation has begun. They will rise again. Jesus raised his hand again. I saw a time long before slavery. I saw a world where black people held spiritual knowledge that was powerful beyond words. They understood the connection between heaven and earth, between spirit and the physical world. They had divine wisdom that had been passed down from generation to generation, men and women who had direct communication with God. Jesus looked at me, his expression filled with both sorrow and love. This is why they were targeted, because those who rule the world fear those who carry divine wisdom. But as I watched, I saw something incredible. Even through oppression, through generations of being told they were nothing, their spirit was never broken. Their power never left them. They carry something that cannot be destroyed, Jesus continued, and that is why they must remember. The world had been built on lies, but the truth was rising. The vision changed again. This time, I saw a great awakening. People of all nations, but especially black people, standing up, realizing who they were. I saw them breaking free from mental chains, reclaiming their spiritual power. It was unlike anything I had ever seen. The world had tried to erase them, but they were stepping into the truth. And as they did, something miraculous happened. The world itself began to shift. Jesus turned to me once more. The prophecy is unfolding. They will lead the world into a new era of spiritual awakening. You must tell them. The world is changing, and they need to know the truth.
I could be.
Need to know the truth. Facts. All right, we're gonna hop to it, y'all. We just want to give a quick backdrop, which most of you guys know, just over the R word, like racism. Brother Wordsmith, why does racism, and we'll unpack this more towards the end, but I do want to know, why does racism towards melanated skinned individuals persist globally in your mind's eye?
Been indoctrinated worldwide. Media has played its part and its role. It's a lot of historical systems that of oppression, colonialism, and social hierarchies. And it's easy as to point the finger at somebody that looks completely different.
True. But you point the finger at the majority? Guess that's kind of brilliant in itself. If I was an alien, I would do that.
Yeah, you need to convince everybody that everything that's about these people is bad, and and that they're not human, and then you can do anything to them, and no one will have anything to say about it.
A la what H did in Germany with the Jewish, right? Start demonizing them in the media and everything. To your point, you brought that out. And what we're here to discuss, we're going to get into the why. You answered it just like I would have wanted it. And because there's more esoteric reasons that we're going to get into later as that we feel like the why. Eddie C say, "Hey fellas, what down, my brother?
Yeah.
King of the universe." All right. According to ChatGTP, racism is rooted in historical systems of oppression and colonization, which establish hierarchies based on race and skin tone. These structures justified exploitation and inequality, and their effects, according to ChatGTP, continue today through systematic discrimination, biased media portrayals, and economic disparities. I'd say you hit the nail on the head. How does colorism differ from racism?
Yeah, they've made it such that light skinned, that lighter skinned people
red bones
were treated
better.
differently and better,
Yeah.
and cause a separation in the family. You know what I mean? It was a lot better. It was, they got treated completely different.
Yeah, the high yellow person in family with three dark skinned pookies, same family, the high yellow kids getting treated better by everybody. Oh, look how pretty it is. Shut your black dark ass up, those big lips. Shut up and
Yeah.
get over there and eat that fat bag. What you want, girl? You high yellow. You pretty. Like that.
And makes the dark skin not like the light skin and the light skin not like the dark skin.
Yeah. And love is unity. And so anything that's creating discord and disunity would be the opposite of love. Also within so you raise a good point. So like even in India, these are the same people, so to
Yes.
speak, per se, but then there's colorism in there.
Oh, lots.
You
They've got a caste system, so it's like, the dark ones are called the untouchables,
hmm
and they don't do anything for those people. Those people, a lot of them are, well, at least from the media that we're presented. So I don't know exactly what happens there because I've never been. But they show them going through the city dump to get food stuff.
hmm Yeah, colorism is discrimination within the same racial or ethnic group based on skin tone, often favoring lighter skin tones. You're high yellow, you're red bones out there. While racism is broader and applies to prejudices against entire racial groups, colorism is a bit more subtle and is often linked to societal beauty standards, economic opportunities, and stereotypes reinforced by colonial history. So your high yellow is more likely to get hired at a front-facing job, and then you might put your darker ones who are less drop dead gorgeous in the back. Maybe they're in the stock room. You know what I mean? You can't come up here. You know what I mean? You get your ugly big lip butt back in the back. And if you're willing to accept that kind of treatment, that's how people are going to treat you. All right. What are the common impacts of racism on dark-skinned individuals? Something I wouldn't know about. I mean, they came on this show. We had one of those field Negroes come on here and call us house Negroes. I'd never. But go ahead. What's your take on that? Oh, my boy Illa, he's dark skinned. I should have got him up on the panel. I used to give him hell growing up. Black ass.
So, well, they get disadvantaged. They are like face higher rates of discrimination in hiring, lower wages, and increased scrutiny by law enforcement and the whole system.
We had beautiful, beautiful, beautiful black skin, copper colored, dark comets. All that DNA and all of that has been perverted into being considered ugly.
Ridiculous.
Because I would imagine the source of mankind would have probably been a super dark Adam and Eve. Coarse hair. Yeah, so I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Racism creates barriers to education, employment, healthcare, and social mobility. It also leads to harmful stereotypes. You might think that person's more likely to rob you or be a gang member. Social exclusion, and in some cases, increased vulnerability to violence and discrimination. And then somebody might not want to make a baby with you because they know the baby's going to be darker too, and then that baby's going to have to live with the same type of treatment. These barriers reinforce cycles of inequality and shape societal perceptions of your dark-skinned people out there. All right, bro. As far as you know, what's your first historical account of racism as far as, towards dark folks? Because I imagine they were doing it like against Jews and against Christians, blah, blah, blah. And I believe all of those were copper colored, in my opinion. But as far as the way racism as we know it, don't date the black guys, don't date the white guys. When did all this start? And
No, start. Oh my goodness. Mainly in this country.
Well, well, it started before this country.
Um,
They brought it over here with them. When they got here, they were already racist.
most of them came from homogeneous places, so I get that, but it definitely was solidified into codified into law and all that shit here. Now, the systems in place and all that. Now, the people, yeah,
I mean, it's complex. It's debated. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's complex.
yeah.
Supposedly, it's been around for millennia, but in the concept of race-based oppression, as we understand it today, it began to take shape during the transatlantic slave trade, and that's way back in the 16th century. So you're pretty much right, but they had to do that to justify, even that, and then coming here and then calling everyone who's already here savages and slaughtering them and, manifest destiny and all of that. But before that, they already had that in them. You remember they started the science and, your skull is bigger and you got less convolutions in your brain and you got the wide nose, it's closer to the monkey.
I think that was later than that, but it did come
Yeah, it
off.
was. You're right. It was later than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was 1700s, late 1700s.
Yeah. But still they developed it, and I think it was maybe perfected here or whatever, because
Oh yeah. This was built on it. It was literally built on it. See, because in Europe people had more knowledge and they knew more and they you know what I mean? They knew the history. They didn't always have that in them in Europe. You know what I mean? So they know who built those temples and all that stuff over there. They
right.
yeah. Yeah. Um, so allegedly, European colonial powers developed racial hierarchies to justify slavery, to your earlier point, creating pseudoscientific theories that place white Europeans at the top and black Africans at the bottom. However, some scholars argue that racial discrimination existed even earlier, pointing to your ancient civilizations out there that marginalized certain ethnic groups based on perceived differences. For example, in medieval Europe, your Jews and your Moors out there were often radicalized and subjected to systematic discrimination. And now, Self, if the Jews and the Moors were treated the same, it seems in my mind that they probably looked the same.
Yes. Period. That's it. That's the answer.
Others suggest that racism became more structured with the rise of nation states and colonial expansion, which reinforced racial division for economic and political control. Yeah. And then, of course, there's Yakub. What do you know about Yakub?
Two-brain being that light-skinned and
Four hemispheres.
despite dark people
High yellow.
and
Go ahead.
created through grafting and things of that nature, and created a being, and the pink beings.
Was he a two-headed albino? I mean, a two-brained albino?
Yes. Or yes.
Right. Right. And supposedly during those times, the albinos all got shunned outside of the tribe.
He got treated bad, so That's
Yeah,
what the story is, anyway.
the story is. Well, I find that difficult to believe too, because the way we treat that high yellow baby, don't nobody even say,
Well, that
damn.
changed everything. They made it opposite as it was.
I see your point. So
Right.
everything's got to be opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because nobody's even talking about, wait, your black ass and your black ass gave baby this high yellow baby. But then you get into Mendelian genetics. I remember they taught me that at Drop Dead Gorgeous William H. Ray School. I was like, this seems to make sense.
Yeah, well.
All right. Why are Moors worldwide feared, demonized, demonetized, and alienated? This is what the discussion is here today. Um, just before we take a short break, bro, I want to kind of discuss pyramids, temples. This is a whole show, so we're not going to do a whole big thing. But there's been things that stories or legends that Napoleon, shot off the nose, ordered all of the big noses off of all of the artifacts to be removed and chopped off. I don't know. Somebody said it wasn't true, so you don't know what's true anymore. But that was the legend.
Yeah.
You look at all of these temples, bro. You look at these temples in Ethiopia, dug out of the ground somehow. Bro, it would take 30, 40 generations. Bro, we can't, you know what I'm saying, bro? Can you imagine this society saying, hey, we're going to endeavor to build something that's going to take 40 generations and the next generation to come through? Like, we're not paying for that.
Yeah, but okay. If they did it like these people are saying
Okay,
they
I
did
got
it,
it.
then it would take
It would
30,
take that
40
long.
generations. Yeah. But this is no
I see
way.
what you're saying.
And much higher technology than we do now. Much higher technology than we do now. They accomplished many things that can't even be done with modern technology.
But let me ask you something. When you were in Theta and you were watching the Flintstones and the relationship that the people had with those animals, did that seem natural to you, bro? Did that seem too far-fetched?
No, it didn't. I mean,
it felt natural. Yeah, it felt
yeah, I mean,
natural.
it felt like Dino was a dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember how the animals would be like, one of them would be doing the washing and the animals be complaining, but they were using nature as opposed to technology to have their technology.
Yeah.
And I brought that up because we got some video we're going to show in the second half where our tribes, bro. I remember as a kid, bro, I used to whistle with the birds, bro. Like our connection to nature, even if you talk about your indigenous, if you want to, I don't know if we're talking about your $5 Native Americans, but your indigenous all over the world, bro, they have this connection
Not talking about no Native Americans.
What are they? Indians? Can't call them Indians anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they are. I mean, I'm not talking about the Native Americans, those people. I'm talking about American Indians, the tribes. Yeah, the American Indians.
That's what they were, huh?
That's what they are.
Somebody said that's a derogatory term, Indians.
Yeah, to Native Americans. Yeah.
Now
those people ain't indigenous to here.
Mm-hmm.
They came from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, all over the world, though, bro. All over the world. So if it's true, and ChatGTP didn't deny it, that the Moors were masters of architecture, and to be a master of architecture, you have to be a master of geometry and math, and they were masters of science. Then it has to be true that we taught them about how not to get disease, how to wash up, how the importance of drinking clean water and things of that nature.
And not living in barns with animals. And bathing and navigation. Yeah. All of science.
Have you ever heard that the elite in England, royalty and all of the rich ones, the noble people. First of all, gluttony was a sign that you were rich, but they didn't wash their ass, bro. They would have rats and literally rodents and roaches in their hair, bro.
They thought bathing was evil. They were afraid of water.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
And they were taught that. And they still don't live up to it.
So you heard that. That's not a myth. That's in their that's in their history. Yeah, they said. Yeah, that they would just put perfumes and stuff on to cover it up. Can you imagine the stench in the heat of the summer? You imagine what the Moors were smelling when they pulled up?
Man, could you imagine them trying to have sex? Oh,
sex. Offering you food and drink. I'm not going to drink out of any of these dishes.
No, especially when you're in the barn. You live in the barn. You live with the animals.
You're going to wash that beer mug out in the toilet water?
I mean, what they gonna do?
They think we're being hyperbolic, but and so they taught us, though, in all seriousness, that those are the dark ages and those are the times, as though mankind was not civilized into the art of washing up into the Renaissance, the Renaissance.
Well, that's BS. The Dark Ages is when they co-opted and took the history and
from the darks.
Yeah, from where from where it came from. The Renaissance is when they reintroduced it as their information.
It's Renaissance.
Yeah, it's crap. That's what it is. Complete BS. That's what it is.
But you have these magnificent pyramids all over the world, facing, matching, star systems. I mean, you could say they were built by the Anunnaki and all of the aliens, stuff like that. You can say that, and that's what material, if you can't, that's what big science wants us to say. But the reality of it is, you'd have to say the ancestors built it.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of those structures in the Americas, way more than the rest of the world combined.
You know how much stuff is in the Amazons, bro?
Man.
Buried in the Amazon forest.
Yeah. Well, I'm buried all over America.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of trying to build something or whatever, and they digging it up and find all kinds of stuff all the time and tear down. In St. Louis, when they were building St. Louis, they blew up so many pyramids and mounds.
But see, I think that's also kind of a Western concept. You've mentioned twice they've had technology that I don't know if it was necessarily it could have been a wisdom, it could have been a magic, it could have been a spiritual connection. It could have just been
they had technology. They was using crystals, same crystals that they putting in these phones and computers and all this stuff now. They had technology. It's no way around it, because how can they put a 280-ton brick in the perfect place, like less than a millimeter out of position, unless they have technology. They can't do that with people.
You could be using your mind. You can be moving those bricks with
technology.
Consciousness.
It's technology.
Well,
along with the mind.
Right. If we're talking technology, we're talking one thing, but I'm talking, I'm saying, I'm not denying it. It could have been technology, but that could just be part of the programming that It always has to be done through material science and technology, through lasers and through bulldozers and all of this, and gasoline and oil or energy or electricity. It's quite possible that all of that has to be thrown out. I'm saying it's possible. It's whether it was technology or spiritual consciousness or both, it's powerful. And it might be important to keep the descendants of those builders from knowing their true essence.
Yeah, that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Tasia?
Keep everybody from knowing who they are, and you can't redo it.
Yeah, because if you don't know who you are, then you lose access to your power. So let's just say if we all have this power, all humans, but some of us are more dialed into it, have more access to it, then if you have limited access and you can keep the people with maximum access from using it, consciously using it, and you're consciously using your limited access, you could now have more power than someone who has more power than you.
They don't know who they are or know how to use their abilities or things of that nature, then yeah, you can, especially when you have the whole world telling them that they ain't nothing.
Nothing. When you have some of their parents telling them they ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Teachers, the first people that in their life tell them they ain't nothing, in theta. TV indicating that they ain't nothing. The movies. But y'all, we got some great videos we want to show y'all. Well, I'll let Brother Wordsmith handle that. Let's see. Karen.
You know how the story goes. It's the Self Love Show.
Yes, y'all. Don't stop. Self Love Show rocks on. Got some great videos for your edutainment. Check them out. Check them out. We'll be right back to get right back on topic.
It's the Self Love Show.
Take it where it need to go.
The Self Love Show. We do it for our people. The Self Love Show. It's the Self Love Show.
I could be, by the airport, and it could be 70 degrees by the airport, and as soon as you come up over that hill on the 101 or the 405, and you feel that heat, now you're like sitting in it, and you have to now wait for the climate to adjust based on. So if that's happening in nature, then it's happening in our body. We're a part of nature. We're all connected, and that when you shift in that way, you then begin to operate differently. And so I began to understand that every component of my life, everything that I thought I could control, I had no control over. And the things that I could control, I began to focus more on. And that was my attitude. That is my relationship with myself and God in me. That is my, like you said, the spiritual principles. That's getting back to scripture. That's going back to all resources that have been available and accessible to us all.
And I was like, when I was young, I got raped. And I was like, Bob, twice my age. When it happened, like I wasn't thinking about it, or that it was like, oh, I just did some with an older woman. Like, it's lit. Like, you go through life and you see stuff and learn stuff. It's like, no, that was, damn, I got raped. People put me in the box. They know us as gang members and we from the streets and all this, you feel me? So they look at us like, oh, we We gang members, we animals, we not human. People say I live crazy, like I live like a wild life, dangerous life or whatever. Like, I talk about that. So now me going through this growing stage of my life, it ain't hard for me because it's like I'm telling my truth. It is what it is. I just got baptized with my kids or with my family. My kids requested it, my oldest daughter. And I was just like, what? That's crazy. She 9.
You rapping, he gives it. You sounding like this shit is the wheel or something, like it's gonna change the world. Look, man, I don't know about all that change the world shit, but what I do know is that they be going crazy over this, man. I'm telling you. And the bitches, oh Lord, the bitches, yo, they do anything for this.
And not more fall to the mind. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen, brother. And the people said amen. Yeah, give us some examples of something that may have happened to you or you've experienced. And then I know you are deep in your book, and you're deep into prayer, your connection, you know, you have this relationship. First, what happened? Give me some examples. And then how do you discern, how do you know if you're dealing with something that's psychiatric or something that's demonic?
So, first was my experience. So my first experience was my very first experience with demonic possession, or let me say attack, was myself. I literally have been getting closer to the Lord in some spaces, and I literally had a moment where I woke up one morning when I had to preach at a church. I knew the sermon, I prepared the word, I knew the church intimately. And in the midst of that, I woke up one morning and I found myself unable to move. And so, you know, I pulled the same thing that, you know, all of us good old Christians pull, you know, say the name of Jesus. So first I was like, Jesus. And when I got ready to let the word out, then the demon took my breath. So the only thing I was able to do for me was actually do sign language and spell the name Jesus. So when I got the last S out, I was released.
Wait, so you were doing like drawing the characters?
No, I was JESUS. I'm sign language ASL. So I'm doing that. You know, I'm trying to, you know, hit the middle fingers in the palm to say the name Jesus. I mean, when that happened, I was released, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. And when I got upstairs, I had red scratches around my neck as if he was holding my neck, trying to strangle me. And I felt temporary paralysis. And so, you know, everybody talks about, oh, that's the body. It's in between the state of sleep and da-da-da. I was like, okay, then explain the scratches on my chest and then around my neck. And they was like, well, you know, maybe you scratch yourself in your sleep. I have a nervous tick when I was younger. I bite my fingernails to their butt fingers. So I can't scratch myself with butt fingers. So, long story short, I didn't believe none of that. I knew what it was. My second occasion.
When I was 11, particular time, I was going to the store, one of my siblings' birthday. I came out my building, and I looked to my left. I saw this little boy giving a command to a black pit bull. And I seen an old lady, and they were like kind of creeping behind her. I'm looking like, what is that boy doing? Gives the command, get him. Grab the pocketbook from the old lady, the dog, and they take off jogging. And they pass by my building. I'm standing there watching the whole thing, and because of no entertainment, like real entertainment, I was like, what? Like, wow, it was the fact that he connected with the dog and was able to, the dog knew exactly what he was telling him to do, was so intriguing and like amazing to me. But so I'm looking like, wow, who are you? Like, and he looking at me with this smirk like, you better not say nothing.
Man, thank you guys for inviting me on. Thank you. Great format, very solid. You know, it don't have that low budget movie feel. You know what I'm saying? And we get that a lot in the Black community, for real. Like, people look at us to be fuck ups. They look at us to be low budget. They look at us to be ignorant, stuttering, and use a whole bunch of and all of that. But no, they got the real deal on here. That everybody know who Torian Mills is, baby. They know.
Hey, well, bro,
They're so ignorant, man.
ignorant.
They're so
Hey, but this platform's your platform. This platform's my platform. From Inglewood, California to
to
Chicago,
South Shore.
Illinois.
Crazy thing about it.
This platform is
It's
made
for you and me.
It's made for you.
The
Do
crazy.
ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. I was trying to get out the end of the preamble, but go ahead, bro.
Yes. Huh? Yes. Don't stop. Self Love Show rocks on. We're back. So some great videos, weren't they? Very edutaining. Y'all know how we do.
It's the Self Love Show. The Self Love Show. The Self
Y'all know how we do.
Love Show. We do it for our people.
That's what we do it for. Why are Moors worldwide feared, demonized, and alienated? The Self Love Show. Talked about the history. So a mystery. Because it's a lot of reasons why we weren't taught this information. That's why we're here, gonna uncover it. For your edutainment.
Absolutely there, fella. Absolutely. All right. Let's hop to it, man. So I got some footage. It was on JRE Rogan, but
fair use.
Oh yeah. He's not gonna mess with us. This is some other channel that fair use his content. So those are the ones you gotta worry about, but we'll be all right. Dogon tribe. All right. So you mentioned you kind of got there. We were talking about, you mentioned something about the way they taught us in school. Bro, like everything that happened before the Dark Ages was completely discounted as savagery. Is that accurate of what you were taught about world history?
Yes. Then nothing existed before that. And
But just a bunch of people living in huts and hunting and gathering.
And living like the people were, in the barns with the animals and not washing and all of this nonsense.
Yes. And we're starving. They weren't starving until this Western materialism started. The famine and all of that. Yeah, as though nothing. Well, even when I just said hunting and gathering, as though that was bad.
Yeah.
Living off the land.
Yeah.
You've mentioned, I remember we were coming up, you're like, yeah, I go to the South, man, they ain't even got running water. Off grid. Big ups. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it, when it goes full circle, you know what I'm saying? Self, you understand now more, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, everything that is good for nature and the environment was programmed into me that was
primitive and
bad. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Primitive. 100%. And not only in me, those drop dead smart kids that were sitting right there next to me in class. It was programmed into them too.
Yeah, we got programmed. That's a larger part of the problem. We got the same programming. It just made them feel like they were superior when
and made us feel like we were inferior.
Yeah. It's like, psychologically.
Yes. Subconsciously.
Yeah. Even better.
Yeah. So then now the Dogon tribe was talking about Sirius A, Sirius B, and then even talked about Sirius C, which they just recently said, damn. They were talking about the star system, and they were saying that their ancestors came from there, and everyone thought it was hogwash when Big Science pulled up. And then later when Big Science was able to create their materials that they use to see the things that Brother Wordsmith can just go into his mind's eye and see, they need this physical confirmation which is why they can't conceive of the other side, why that brings them so much fear, because they need physical confirmation of everything. They need to be able to feel it, touch it, taste it, measure it.
Which is all an illusion anyway.
It's all nonsense.
It's an illusion. I mean, seeing,
yes,
tasting,
all in
touching. These are all physical impulses or whatever is an illusion. Track back to your brain so it can put it all together.
Yeah, so
way.
No, you're right, because they say, man, like if you pinch your nose and eat your favorite and eat different foods, you don't know what you're eating. That has a lot to do with the illusion that's being played out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You know, you go to the movie theater and you think you're smelling popcorn. They're pumping that in through the vents, an artificial smell of popcorn.
Yeah.
You think you're smelling it. Speaking of which, go ahead.
It's all touch. You're talking about five senses. It's all touch.
And God forgive me. My wife was watching this fat, what do you call her? Sapphire. Can't think of her name. She's got a national TV show in the mornings. And she was talking about, and when I go get my popcorn, and they had a little laugh track playing. And I'm sorry, baby. When I'm gonna get my popcorn, I get that first layer. And I walk up to the counter, I tell them to put some butter on it. Then I go put butter on it. And then I get to the counter, I tell them to put another layer of popcorn. And then I go put some more butter on there. And then I tell them to put a third layer of popcorn. Then I put more butter on it and I shake it all up. And then I go get a fourth layer. And then one time I went to this fancy place. I was in Europe and they don't sell that BS butter they sell here. They don't sell it. And girl, they had real butter. And I came back up there and I said, this don't taste like that popcorn butter I like. He's like, baby, that's real butter. I don't want real butter. Give me that fake butter. Yes, this is what was said on national TV with the laugh track going on. That's the programming, Self.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised.
This is a middle-aged woman, not a 20-year-old. This is somebody whose fan base has no business eating any of that. But if you are going to eat it, you go ahead and with the real butter.
Terrible.
I don't see that any different than Little Nas X lap dancing on Satan's lap. I fail to see the difference in it. I fail to see the difference. All right. But tribes like that, like, I wish they would have had more balance and at least told the truth growing up. You know what I mean?
Well, they were trying to separate us from the truth, so they weren't going to tell us.
Yeah.
You know, these indoctrination centers are anti-truth for the most part.
Man, I wish I still had my social studies books and stuff, bro. Man, those pictures they used to have of all the indigenous, what do you call them, the Indians and all the Africans, man, they were always with sticks and huts, and they made it look like they knew nothing about science, the stars, and they knew more about all this stuff than all of them.
Yeah, period. Put together.
And the stuff that the ones that they know, they heard from us.
Period. They got everything from us.
Allegedly?
It's no alleged to us.
Let's get all right. We got some stuff here. I think I put a pin in it. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's get to the videos. So the next tribe is the Maasai tribe. You ever heard of themselves? Maasai tribe?
Yeah, Maasai.
Yeah,
yeah,
Maasai tribe. All right. Let's see out there.
Tribes who still live in the old age. So that did stop the
Fair use, as Brother Wordsmith said. 357. This stuff, bro. I mean, even if I would have had this in me, bro, I probably would have studied this at Champaign. African studies, tribal studies, and got all into this. All right.
Sounded better if it was the whole truth. In the real sense, these people are freaked about drinking cow blood like it's not a big deal.
This is the Maasai. This is the Maasai tribe. And these guys are talking about them drinking cow blood. When I watch these guys eat rare steaks, yeah, just put it on there. I worked at Sizzler. Just put it on there and just flip it and put it on there. Less than 3 seconds. If you cooked it more than 5 seconds per side, they'd bring it back. So blood all over the plate. And they're talking about these guys like they're some sort of savages for doing the same thing. Is it different when it's on a plate as opposed to when you're just drinking it?
I mean, they've been doing this for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a little different than this food that we get here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a lot different than this food we get here. So,
and their relationship with the cow is probably why the so-called aliens are so infatuated with the cows. We'll get more into it.
Yep, you heard that right. And trust me, Joe Rogan was just as shocked as you may be when his guest made this revelation on an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. According to the guest, the people of Maasai use an age-long technique to get blood from the cow. Then they mix this blood with cow milk and drink it.
They just, when they kill the animal, they eat the blood. No, the Maasai will take an arrow, put it into a live cow's neck, drain some of the blood, then seal it up with some shit, and then drink that blood or mix that blood with milk.
Why would they seal it up with shit?
No matter how strange it sounds.
Why would your people sleep in shit? That's why we're not on those shows, right? You know what I mean? Why would your people have rats running around in their wigs?
So, I mean, they obviously know that it stops the bleeding, you fucking dumb fuck.
Right, it works. Yeah, so if they showed it, man, for them to figure out, man, they'll pluck that cow right in that neck.
I've seen.
Yeah, don't even kill it.
Yeah, I've seen the real video.
People of Maasai.
Not on Joe Rogan. Yeah.
Oh, you watched the actual video?
Yeah.
Based on social hierarchy.
The way they section up meat is really interesting among the.
This is interesting.
Maasai tribe and many other tribes are like this too. So how they separate the meat is that each quarter, each piece goes to a different group. And so they have ribs, they have front quarters, they have hind quarters. Some might go to pregnant women, some goes to.
Man, this makes perfect sense, bro. If you're a little kid in the Maasai tribe, bro, if you tasted some liver, that's because your great-grandfather or your grandmother or somebody was gracious enough to let you taste it. Other than that stuff, you'll go a whole lifetime until you're an elder before you even get a taste of some liver.
Young women, but the liver always goes to the older men.
Oh, this men.
They also depend majorly on milk produced by the cattle as well. According to research, the Maasai people drink more milk and more milk products than any other group of people in the world. Maybe that would explain why they have some of the strongest men on earth. Their men have a stark difference from the rest of the world because research has shown that they are one of the few tribes that can jump the highest, and they may even be the first on the list. So when we say that they...
That's where we should be recruiting for our basketball teams. I'd be out there as a GM right now.
defy the laws of physics, that's exactly where it all makes sense. This tribe has a special jump dance, which is a major part of their culture, and to do this dance, they have to jump very high without aid.
Man, look at these little moves they doing, boy. That shit's cold. They barely showing it, though, because we ain't supposed to know this. Slow it down. Oh, son of a... Slow it down a little bit. Those moves the females doing. Look at that, boy. That's cold, boy. They showed them doing a couple things like that throughout this video, but they only show a little clip of it. I'm like, I'd love to see that. Back speed.
Yeah, I think it was the dude that's talking.
Mm-hmm.
It was his show.
They are little rats. Well, that lasted until
it was his little documentary.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel where he goes and experience different cultures and all that. It was his show. That's all that this on.
Yeah, well, maybe you saw him on Rogan.
No. I saw him with those people.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The rest of the world because research has shown that they are one of the few tribes that can jump the highest, and they may even be the first on the list. So when we say that they defy the laws of physics, that's exactly where it all makes sense. This tribe has a special jump dance, which is a major part of their culture, and to do this dance, they have to jump very high without aid.
Man.
So we can say that the Maasai tribe has learned to live against the strong force of gravity, if that makes sense. So since they have all the strength they need, the Maasai men take pride in hunting lions like they are little rats. Well, that lasted until the habit was banned in Eastern Africa, but they would still do it secretly if a lion dared to
show all of that.
maul their most beloved cattle. You can just say that the Maasai.
All right. Hadza tribe. You heard of them?
Who?
Hadza. Hadza. Hadza.
Of the Joe Rogan Experience, David Cho goes deep into the hunting lifestyle of these people. Based on what he saw in his 2-week stay with the Hadza people, the tribe must have
Showing that
been
dude with the
hunting for such
phone.
a
You
long.
see that dude looking at the phone too?
Based on what he saw.
Oh man, these
Of the
guys
Joe
bogus.
Rogan Experience, David Cho goes deep into the hunting lifestyle of these people. Based on what he
Look at
saw
that.
in his 2-week stay with the Hadza people, the tribe must have been hunting for
Yeah,
such
they-
a long time that they do not need to depend.
What'd you say?
They run down animals. I think this that.
Oh yeah, man.
He was like, man, they don't never stop moving. They running, running.
On any modern equipment for effective hunting. All they needed was some sticks which they used to make arrows. According to him, the guys would spend all day sharpening these sticks into arrows. Then they would use a certain toxic plant on the tip.
You know what kind of meditation that is? What you're doing for your mind, body, and spirit out there, just doing that all day as opposed to clicking and swiping.
Hey, well, that's much more. They don't know nothing about no clicking and swiping.
Well,
They
dude
don't
was
care
showing
about-
him. You saw him showing him.
Yeah, he was like, the fuck?
Mhm. Ain't nobody got time for that. we gotta
man, I gotta make these arrows.
eat.
So that the
I'm going
arrow
over here
can
and
be
make
more
these arrows. You
efficient.
keep doing that.
So
what do they hunt with?
bow and arrow, like
Homemade bow and arrow?
homemade bow and arrow, like just they take this wood and they spend all day making the arrows. Yup. They use their
They
teeth.
show you?
Yeah,
They show you how they did
I
all
learned how
this?
to make it, and then they use their teeth to. I think I know that guy.
However, after long hours of working on the arrow, it would still look like a toy to the modern man until these guys handle the arrows themselves. In fact, the arrows are so effective that the Hadza men would use them to hunt baboons and other large animals.
One of these guys, see it? It almost looks like a toy. Like you think it wouldn't work.
No,
There's
that
one
looks
guy
like
in the
it would
village,
work.
Shawnee, that's so strong that he could shoot the arrow through the fucking kudu. It was like,
Come to think of it,
Now he's got to be using some consciousness. See, that's what I'm talking about with technology. There's a marrying. There should be a marrying of your technology and your consciousness that enhances the technology and enhances what you can do in this realm. He's taking. I was talking to DX about it. You know, he's a martial artist, and they were talking about, you know, when you break a board or something, you know, you got to envision your mind on the other side of the board. You know what I mean? Like when you're punching, you're not thinking about punching a board. You're placing
punching through it.
Yes. And that's going to be the momentum you need. And this guy has to know that when he's, you know what I mean? He's shooting through it. He's telling it to go through it. He's, you know, amazing, you know.
Using that technology. It look like it's not, you know, a toy or whatever, and it's extreme. And you're putting all that time and effort into it. And that's putting
right
spiritual onto that. That's putting your frequency into that. That's, you know.
You visualize them while you're doing it,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The hunting. Yeah. All that, bro. Yeah. All that, bro. All that. I mean, I don't know. We're going to get into more a little bit. We got a little bit more.
why does the simple instrument they sharpened out of tiny sticks seem to work such wonders in their hands? I guess the search for an answer would bring us to the first wonder about these people. Aside from the fact
Hold on.
even makes the bodybuilding thing easier for them, and Joe Rogan seems to understand this perfectly.
Just getting by as a hunter-gatherer with the crazy bow that you have to pull back and you're running through the woods all the time, like, you have to be fit.
It's unbelievable.
What a crazy way to live.
Having those strong, well-built...
That's a crazy way to live, as opposed to sitting in a cubicle all day and then burning gas to go to a grocery store and get food and come back and put in a refrigerator that's plugged into the wall that you got to pay for. And then you sit on your couch and, I better pay for a membership to the health club. Do you know what I'm saying, bro? Like,
yeah, man,
that's what I keep saying about the tech. Go ahead.
Place. We live in an asinine world where almost everything is attacking these avatars that we are in.
Yes, that's what it seems like, bro. Our avatars, man, our minds, our bodies, and if you can attack the mind, the body, then you may be able to attack the spirit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You can attack them all, and you got some people going in a weird direction.
How many of these guys you think could get high blood pressure, diabetes, and things of that nature?
Zero. None. They've been eating that diet for thousands of years.
Yeah, but we need big pharmaceuticals to send them pills so they can get better.
And you want to pasteurize their milk too.
Mm-hmm. You got to get that milk pasteurized. Mm-hmm.
I personally wouldn't drink any blood or milk, because that's not the tradition of my people.
Yeah, they say they mix the blood with the milk.
And they drink some of it straight too.
Yeah, I'm willing to try that.
I've seen the thing.
Boy,
Maybe there, but you better not try no cow here.
Boy, I used to love milk. You know what I'm saying? Boy, I used to drink some more milk. My mom, this is about that gallon yesterday.
Yeah, poison.
Yeah, well, but they're getting it right out the cow, so it's not poison.
It's I agree.
Right. Yeah.
That was my whole point.
Yeah,
I said they not pasteurizing they milk.
No, getting it right out the cow. They ain't putting it in the refrigerator, letting it sit there.
No.
Built bodies is not close to being the most interesting fact about the Hadza people. One of the things that really worry scientists about these people is the kind of relationship that they have with nature. Since they are majorly hunter-gatherers,
I was developing this, bro. I don't know if it was from watching cartoons, but I was getting this as a shorty. I used to be in my own world.
the Hadza tribe do not only depend on the games they catch, but they also have a thing for wild fruits and wild honey.
Right. Not this.
Especially. But this is where it gets a little intense. The entire tribe are known for eating wild honeycombs like it's some snack. And if you know how obsessed bees are with their honeycombs, you should know an ordinary human wouldn't try to go near them unprotected, let alone eat them directly. Surprisingly, it looks like the bees are especially in love with the Hadza tribe. This special love allows the people to eat honey directly from the forest and not be bothered about being bitten by the bees.
So this see the bees on his fucking head?
Yep, they're lighting him up and he's eating the honey.
And it does nothing to him.
Really?
So we go climb. Hey, come on, climb the tree. Guy sticks his fucking hand in the tree, scoops that out, starts eating it like it's a fucking hamburger. Bees, and I'm like, bro, I'm cool.
Well, it's not that they are not being bitten by the bees, but the bites just have nothing on them. You can say that they have some special kind of body, or they've just gotten so used to being bitten by the bees that they are no longer bothered. I guess that...
Man, that's like somebody born and raised in LA, never been nowhere cold. They come to your house in February on one of them super cold days. And they like, you going out in this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm going out in this.
Regular. It happens all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I was been here since I was in thetas. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That is scientifically possible, right? Being stung by bees since they were kids could be the reason they are now immune to bees.
And they're just...
Doesn't bother them.
It doesn't bother them.
They're fine with it, and they're...
Is this why we're conditioned to stay away from bees so we don't get our immunity like this?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, we're taught to stay away from everything.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Come on, Self. They could have told me, hey, if you get stung enough. I was just savvy enough to try that as a kid. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I got stung by a bunch of bees and
Lit you up, huh?
oh, lit me up. I was in Mississippi and
Yeah.
had us chopping some weeds down, and I
He's chopping broccoli.
hit this potato patch thing. It was not
A sweet
it was a
potato patch?
bin. It wasn't a patch. It was a bin that they store the potatoes in. It wasn't no bee. It was no potatoes in there. It was a beehive in there, and
A Beyonce?
no, the physical bees. And I was running around, and my great grandmother was like, "Run in the house," and then they told me that it was the whole thing of bees was behind me.
You probably killed the queen by accident. You probably killed the queen, bro.
So I just tapped the thing. I didn't even hit no hive. The hive was in there. I just hit. It was this aluminum covering. It was, I don't need. It was
You ran,
aluminum,
huh?
but it wasn't like aluminum foil. And I accidentally hit that because it was a thing right up there.
The queen must have been in there or something.
It was in there. The whole hive was in there.
Yeah, they're gonna protect that queen, bro. That's all they trying to do. They can't get no honey out of you. You were supposed to stand there and just suck that up. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to suck
I'm
that up.
sitting
You
up
be
there. I'm
B-man
like,
today.
I was like, smack myself, and then I'm like, God damn! And thought I was like, this fucking horse fly, and I looked, and it was a bee. I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, and then I
How
took
old were
off
you?
running. About 10. They said I got stung about 30, 40 times.
Oh yeah. Was that your first time being stung?
Yeah.
You got your crown on. You'd have been
Laid
King
me out.
B. I would introduce you to P. Diddy, got you some baby oil, and Beyonce and Jay-Z
Oh
come to
no,
your crib.
no.
This is King B. He
Got laid out, bro. I was laid out.
was you, bro? Swollen?
Yeah.
What'd they do? Put something on? What they put on it, bro? I know you was down in the South. They put something on it.
Coal oil. It was this thing my great grandmother put together with some. It was actually coal oil, some green alcohol, and it was another ingredient too.
Suck that poison out. Was you high?
I was out of it.
You was probably
they
high.
putting it all over me.
What did you learn from that experience?
That you better be careful in the country chopping weeds. You won't be hitting no potato bin or whatever. I forgot.
Man.
Don't be hitting that.
Was they laughing at you?
No, nobody was laughing. They was scared for me.
Yeah. I said, go in the house because they was on your ass, huh?
Yeah, them bees wasn't doing nothing to nobody else, dude.
They was on your ass.
Yeah. I disturbed the whole thing.
That's crazy. Huh? You learned. You lived.
Oh yeah.
You learned.
I was like, oh, you gotta
King
stay
B,
away from those
everybody.
things.
Can't hear that. I don't know.
Sure didn't hear it.
What's going on?
His hands.
There.
And the thing you never see.
Yeah, but what's this shit?
Their body is also
At the
Nothing on them. You can say that they have some special kind of body, or they've just gotten so used to being bitten by the bees
Say that could have been you.
that they are no longer bothered.
No,
I guess that is
these
scientifically
people been doing
possible,
this for
right?
thousands of
Being stung
years,
by
so
bees since they were kids
It's in their
could be the
DNA to be, they don't have to worry about it. And nobody's scared, nobody's afraid of it, so nobody's scared or afraid of it.
Yeah. They program it different. Yeah, it's just a little sting, but look at the reward. They can't go to the corner store and get some
honey,
sweetie cakes.
Yeah, honey.
You know what I mean? The poison they sell.
And you know how healthy that stuff is right there. That's
Whew. They can't go get 50-cent cakes, so. Yeah, and this is healthy.
This ain't 50-cent cakes. This is man, there's so much nutrition and stuff.
Yeah.
They ain't just eating the honey, they eating the honeycomb.
They eating the honeycomb. Look at Shorty. Look at Shorty's face.
Yeah.
Well, they might have diabetes looking at all that honey they drinking.
No, honey don't give you diabetes.
the reason they are now immune to bees.
And they're just
Doesn't bother them.
it doesn't bother them.
They're fine with it, and their body's also gotten immune to it.
Right.
That's crazy. They're biting that honeycomb like it's a snack, and all those bees are on his head, his hands.
And the thing you never see.
Okay, guys, the bee thing could make sense to scientists, and there may be an explanation for it, but this is where the scientists may have to deal with some unanswered questions. Guess what? The Hadza tribe may have some mind.
This is what I'm talking about. We're missing our boat, and that's why they don't let us mess with crows.
Boggling friendship with birds as well. Since they are so obsessed with wild honey, they usually need help to know where the honeycombs are sometimes, and this is where the birds come in. According to the guest on Joe Rogan's podcast, the Hadza tribe has a special way of communicating with the birds. Imagine that you can just make a sound and the birds will lead you to your next meal. Sounds crazy, right?
And you want me to tell you what they did? Since they're not watching TV all day and they're sitting around, they don't have iPods in. They noticed through observation that whenever those birds make that sound, they're going to get the honey. Do you know what I mean? They just noticed that. And then, so you know what I'm saying? They noticed one bird making a certain sound and then another bird leading the birds to honey. They noticed that, and that's from paying
Thousands of
attention.
years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Pass that down.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get left alone.
Yes. They've all been left alone. They've all been left alone. They've all been out there paying attention to nature and sharing the information with one another, because there's no advantage for Self Love to figure that out, because he's not going to start a corporation and I'm going to be the one to get all the honey because I got this secret. I got this proprietary secret that I copyright. No, it's for the good of the collective.
It's much more natural than snatching up somebody and making a box and putting them in there to do that.
Well, according to Joe Rogan, these people are crazy. Okay. All right, let's see here. All right, Karen, we only got a little bit more for y'all, but we're making a point here. We'll summarize it here shortly.
With the Hadza people.
Dude, these motherfuckers are so in tune with nature that they'll make a bird sound, and they're talking to the bird, and the bird will show you where the honey is.
What?
Like, and then...
Anyway, as weird and interesting as that sounds, it's just the least of the worries of scientists as far as this tribe is concerned. In fact, when compared to the Maasai people that drink cattle blood, these people do not only violate the law of science, it probably does not exist around them. I mean, how do you explain that people eat raw animals? Yeah, you heard that right. And not just animals, these guys actually feed on raw snakes.
Watch how they say this shorty just snatched this snake. We all had a skill, bro.
And snack on bush babies without having to cook them at all. Of course, that would sound like a fake story made up by some bad storyteller until you hear it from the mouth of Joe Rogan's guest, who stayed months with the tribe. According
Right, showing them porn or something.
to him, the kids could just catch a snake from a tree, bite off the head, and chew it raw. Now, tell me how science will ever be able to interpret that.
Right? He's like grabbing a snake and biting his head off. He's
Oh
like,
my
he's like, you
God.
want some thing? Climbing a tree with...
He just grabbed a snake and bit its head off?
He takes out a slingshot,
Look at this.
a pebble this big, bam, hits a bush baby out of the tree, breaks his leg, breaks his legs, puts it here, and it's like, snack for later.
Trust me, scientists know that there is something special
I
about
mean,
this tribe, even
hold
if they
it.
can't explain.
You gonna tell me, Self, you never ran around with a slingshot?
No,
Nah,
I didn't. I didn't.
I
kick-
ran. Well, I got good with a slingshot, boy.
No, they wouldn't let me have no slingshot.
Yeah, I got good with a slingshot. We can make your own, boy. We used to make our own. Yeah, boy.
I'd have it for like 3 minutes,
Uh-huh.
and then somebody take it from me. They'd be like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They take your power, bro.
"You can't have that."
David was cold with a slingshot. He slew Goliath. This kid's out there putting a little pebble in there, knocking out food, feeding his family, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Eventually, I was told to stop too. I want you to know. They shunned on the slingshot.
So they'd take it from me. I don't, wouldn't have it long enough for anything.
explain it. For this reason, they have come up with some hypothesis that these guys could have some special microbes in their guts.
Science likes to come up with hypotheses
that help them to process these strange things that they consume.
Yeah, thousands of years of doing it.
According to scientists, these microbes do not exist anywhere else in the world. Well, the hypothesis could be an attempt to answer some of their questions about these people, but they seem to be doing some strange and hilarious things in the process. After speculating that they may have special microbes in their guts, the scientists might have been sneaking into their caves to steal their poops for testing. Quite funny, huh? On this episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, the guest stated how the tribesmen claim to have seen modern men who came to steal their poops on some occasions.
Yeah, they like to steal their poop, Self. Still, they won't even buy it. They're using it for scientific research. They're going to make these fancy drugs out of it, and they come steal the poop. I mean, they can't buy it. These kids don't want money, but they can give them something. You know, Pepsi.
Well, no.
You know, iPhone
No
with
poison.
some internet.
No poison. Don't poison the tribe.
They need the computer. Need that. They can get
No,
an
they
iPad.
don't. They don't need none of that.
Don't they need access to information?
No. They're doing much better without all that information.
Without all the programming.
Man, indoctrination. They do it much better.
Come on, bro. I mean, they got to know what
They
Gates
go
is
around
doing.
and be like, "What? Wait a minute. You have to cook food? So we've been doing this all this time, and you have to cook this stuff.
Now we got to tear down these trees.
And
so
now
we
we're
can
gonna
make
be
more
poisoned.
fires.
Now we're gonna be, now it's gonna poison us.
Yeah.
They have some what do you call it, microbes and gut biome kind of things in their stomach that no one else on the planet has. So the translator's explaining to me, Canadian scientists come and literally steal their shit. They find them and they steal their shit, and I'm like,
He ain't calling that crazy. I don't hear Joe Rogan saying, "What? They're stealing your shit.
They're
That's
actual poop.
crazy."
They're actual.
I don't hear that. How primitive, you stealing people's shit.
Just to
poop.
get their biome.
Because there's biomes in there that don't exist anywhere.
Maybe these people.
You see how he normalizes what the West does.
Yeah. Indoctrination. Indoctrination.
Well, what I'm talking about here, bro, is some sort of something. Kendrick Lamar might have flirted with it. Not like us. Some sort of something. Some sort of something. You know, even some of our spiritualists, bro, able to put hands on people, heal them. We've got natural paths. You know, George Washington Carver. We have a way with nature. We were the best farmers, agriculture, like the land, like nature responds to us, bro.
Respect it. And treat it like the living being it is. Interact with it.
You think, because I've often said, you know, the more they, you know, spray a roach, the stronger the next generation of that roach is. Do you think there's something about our intuition, bro, that's different? Is melanin adding? I don't know. It seems like we're more into like. Go ahead, my bad.
First of all, we're directly from here. And
from the earth, from the clay, from the dirt?
Yes. That's why we copper colored, because that's what the dirt is. So we come from this, and we are it. And yes, it responds to us. And we have dominion over some animals. All of them, really. In
All of them.
In your area where you are.
All of them. If you're right at the right frequency, you have dominion over all of them. But I know your point. I know your point. I know your point 100%. I thought that, boy, I remember, boy, I wasn't at the right frequency. That black tongue dog on the other side of Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dog used to bark. Vicious yard dog. Boy, I was out there, Self. Like, oh, yeah. Let me do what I just learned. Boy, I was putting that dog in a trance. That dog looked at me. So he wasn't barking for some reason. He was looking at me. And I was walking towards the fence. That dog was just looking at me. And then he was looking calm himself. I don't know if it was a demon. It had like the little pet into it. And then it tilted his head all cute. And the whole time, so if I'm moving my hand closer, trying to, pet it,
Yeah.
touch his snoot. And he's looking out.
Yeah.
As soon as my finger crossed that threshold, he tried to bite my, all of a sudden, tried to bite my finger off. He tried to bite my finger off. I didn't have the meaning that day. But I think some fear or something must have set in. You know what I mean? I think the way society has programmed ourselves, they got us too much on the rational side of our brain. And I think we should be out there using 70% irrational part of our brain and 30% rational part of our brain, at least 50-50. And we're nowhere near 50-50. Yeah.
We don't even use all of our brains.
But the majority of what we're using of that brain is probably on the rational side because that's all they cultured.
Made people right-handed.
Yes. Instead of ambidextrous or lefties.
Yeah.
Lefties. Yeah. I feel like balance, though. I feel like it should be balance in this realm, and they've tuned us away from that balance. I don't know. I'd love to see if we can arrange something like that. That'd be nice to get out there with one of these tribes, wouldn't it, Self?
Yeah.
Be damned if I really want to go to Africa and, stay at the Four Seasons. You know what I mean? I mean, I could do that here.
And you don't have to go to Africa to experience some of these tribes either. I mean, some of these South American tribes are extraordinary. And you mentioned the Amazon and all that. That's not in Africa. That's here. It's in the Americas.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to mess around in Amazon forest right now. Amazonians say you can come up missing.
You can come up missing anywhere on this planet.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you.
Especially messing with tribes.
Kind of problem you got going to Africa? Don't you think you're better than us because you Indian?
No, I just rather deal with Indians and explore that. It's closer to my culture.
Maybe it is. I don't know about the Amazon. Probably all the same people. All right. Prayer, though. I tend to believe, and I could be wrong. I could be off base. There's that whole Christian Bible Belt. Well, I'm not talking religion. I don't know. I don't know who's praying to who. Or who's praying to what. But I'll go with this. I feel like we're definitely more intuitive. Anything that we're given the opportunity to do, everyone can agree we end up doing it better.
This is ours. Just makes perfect sense that we do everything better.
Which is probably why they have to keep us out, only just let a small percentage. You know what I mean? Because how can you perpetuate this lie when you're saying, 15% of the people are doing all these high level jobs, 15% of them are Moors or copper colored or whatever you want to call them, and all of them are doing everything better. You know what I mean? It would be tough to perpetuate the Pookie Ray Savage lie.
It's not all of us that do it better. That's the thing. we do everything better, but it's not all of us. I mean, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
So they just
Yeah, it does.
they try to individualize the ones that do it better as better than the rest.
Yeah.
It's another divide and conquer concept.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, brings me back to that Sanford and Son episode when
big dummy
Fred was going to the dentist and he wanted the white doctor. And the brother came in there and the brother was qualified, board certified. He was actually the boss of the older white doctor.
Yeah.
Fred wanted the white boy and turned out, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And great to put it on TV like that.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Boy, Fred Sanford.
Coach like that one. Coach like Fred Sanford.
Fred Sanford and Archie Bunker on the same show. If they could have put that together, like both of them ended up in a convalescent home or something like that, boy, and they was roommates. Oh, that would have been great. Oh, that would have been great. Lamont coming around every now and then visiting.
You big dummy.
Yeah, you big dummy coming around here. All right. And our connecting the spirit, bro. I don't know. Maybe it's the people I'm coming across, but I'm saying, bro, it just seems like even when you see people dancing, it seems like that rhythm, that soul, it seems like there's something there that when I'm around others, it's just not there. They even talk about it in lovemaking.
I mean, effectively, we're the gods of this realm, and they are human. So there's that.
There is that. And as they say, we ain't scared of these. We reared those, you know? So we ain't scared of nobody. We reared all y'all. Bro, I had pulled up at a liquor store on a 2-leg trip. My man's wearing a blue hoodie. Him and his girl picked him up. Was it Chili's? They're on a date. Cool, no problem. Yeah, we just gonna make a quick stop. He decides to leave the good area. Liquor stores all over there to go to East Hale. So I'm thinking, okay, it's his neighborhood. He should know better. It's his neighborhood, but he should know better. But okay, we must be good. Pull in. Well-lit parking lot. Liquor stores open. Man, this guy tells this girl, yeah, just go in and come right out. Don't be in there bullshit. Red flag goes on. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? Then he gets out and goes in with her anyway. I'm like, this isn't making any sense. My man, two shorties come. They're in there like 5 minutes. Two shorties come up. One of them got the shiesty on self. Only thing you can see is his eyes. The other one don't, tat it all up. By that time, some other dude poured in, Mr. Oblivious. He in a vet. He let his girl out. She go in there, and he's just looking at his phone the whole time. So when Shiesty and them walk up, they looking at him. I'm looking at them the whole time. Shiesty goes stand outside the liquor store door. Dude, the tats. Looking at dude, then he see me looking at him, look at dude, then he came and walked to the front of the car. He looking at me, self. I'm looking at him, I'm looking him dead in his, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking him dead in his eyes, self. He's looking at me, he's matriculating. He's matriculating. I'm looking at him. All right, so he thinks better of it. He goes inside, and now I see the people coming out. And they talking to the couple, and man, this dude lifting up his sleeves. They got him lifting up his thing.
Oh,
so
my God.
Yeah, so now they come walk to the car, they get in, and I'm like, all right, so what was going on? What they say? She's like, just drive. He says, go, go. They are, they're right there, but now they paying attention to Mr. Oblivious. Mr. Oblivious is still Mr. Oblivious is a grown man. He got to be like 60 or something, bro. Mr. Oblivious pulled up. I'm talking about we were in East Hale in LA. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Mr. Oblivious don't see none of this going on. So she's like, just try. So Self, I ain't tell you when they went in. Now I put my jacket on. You know what I'm saying? So when they went, by the time he came back out, now I'm sitting up in the whip like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking dead in this. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there like this. So you can't be shook if you pump faking. You know what I mean? You can't. You know what I mean? There's got to be a certain ease into it. You know what I'm talking about. You from the South Side. So I'm like, calm down. I'm like, calm down. And he, bro. So I'm pulling out. He like, I told you to go right in and come right back out. He's like, and you had to go to the ATM. I'm like, and you bro, she go to the ATM. Turns out, she's like, well, who are they? He like, well, they off Main Street. This dude pulled up at the rival neighborhood. Oh,
man.
He's active. Yes. Stop at their liquor store. They was telling him all right, well, we're gonna give you a pass, but you're gonna buy our liquor. They was like, it was like they made me lift up my jacket to show I'm not strapped. I'm sitting there like, oh man, y'all be doing some crazy shit in LA and not strapped. I'm not, hey, listen, man, what's gonna happen, but you know what I mean? I'm not, what do you mean prove I'm not strapped? What's next? So yeah. I mean, of course we got out of there. And by the time I was leaving, they was messing with Mr. Oblivious, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to ask him though, so what was it about? Because I probably would have gave my man like $10, $15, get him something to drink. And they was like, I'm not getting him. And it's the whole demonic energy. It's that, and they gave him a whole pass, bro. They caught him out there slipping. He said he had to convince them that he wasn't over there on no BS. They was like, well, who is that? Talking about me. Oh, that's just the driver. And then we on a date. I'm not on that. He kept saying that I'm not on that. I'm with my girl. That. So they gave him a pass, but bro, you an idiot.
Yeah, not even going there.
Letting your girl go in there in the first place if she was going to go. And I couldn't pull off. Spirit told me not to pull off. I think they would have been in a bad way had I pulled off there, fella. You know what I mean? But let's get down back to topic. Last question. Which leads us to the poll question. But this is more so for us, for the Moors. It's important for us not to be ignorant as to us, as to who we are. I think that's important. But what's most at the heart of racism? Now, ignorance is your first option. Hatred is your second option. Fear is your third option. Jealousy is your fourth option. Which one of those did you go with?
I went with jealousy.
Now okay. Why'd you go with jealousy?
Because it takes someone who is jealous.
Small penis syndrome?
To rewrite history in their favor. To change facts into fiction. Because they convinced themselves that they are better and we're savages. It's all jealousy to me. I mean, it's actually all of those. It is ignorant. That's for damn sure. It is hatred. Jealousy.
Well, okay, yeah, because we're saying most,
We
but now
ruled them for 600 years, and where they're supposed to be at, the leaders and built all these temples and all this stuff that they say they built.
So you're saying
You
it's the
know?
jealousy when somebody sees somebody in the neighborhood doing good, how he look at him pulling up in that college boy pulling up in that high-end car, right? I'm gonna take it from him. I'm gonna carjack him, right? That kind of thing. And that kind of hatred is coming from jealousy. Is what you're saying. It's rooted in jealousy. Um, is it they want to be us?
They've been conditioned to think they are us in a sense. They are convinced that they've done everything that we've done. And like I said, they've got the same conditioning for the most part that we did.
You know, you can meet the average white guy, and they're always going to assume they're smarter and more educated than you.
Yeah.
Man, I'll be talking to them, bro, and they'll be like, yeah, just came from the Dusable Museum. You know what that is? Yeah, that's the Dusable Museum, and it's African American history, and it's in Dusable. You know who Dusable was? You know what I mean? And they started explaining everything, like, but it'd be more rudimentary stuff than that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. They just, I mean,
yeah,
they just assume that we're ignorant.
yeah,
Just ignorant.
yeah.
So ignorant.
So you said jealousy. Now, here's what's funny. I was torn between fear out there and jealousy. I was torn between fear and jealousy, and I thought those would be the highest voted responses. I went with fear.
Mm-hmm.
I went with
they are very
they fear our
close,
power.
They're very closely related.
Yeah, yeah.
Jealousy and fear.
Yeah, but let me tell you why I went with fear. They fear our power. You know, they fear our conviction. They fear our connection to source. They fear our connection to nature. They fear our resilience. They fear our what word am I? Ingenuity. You
They
know,
fear that we would treat them the way they treated us.
oh yeah, yeah. They fear that echo. They fear that as well. They fear that we'll sleep with their women
and make them disappear.
Yeah. They they fear that, you know, we'll take their gold watch. They fear that we'll move to their neighborhood. But I hear you. I hear you though. But fear is only 13%. Well, hatred, 25%. Now you said all of these, which I agree. That's why I said what's most at the heart of racism. So hatred. How can hatred lead to racism?
And if you're in power and you hate somebody, then you keep them from doing anything.
And it's easier to do it if you hate them.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's easier for that cop to shoot a pookie.
Human.
Right.
If he's not human.
Right. Right. I can fear from this jackal that jumped in my car and shoot it because it's not human. It's easy for me to make that decision. But when it's a drop dead gorgeous blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, I can't shoot.
You're gonna shoot your mama and you won't shoot.
Right. Wow. Mind blowing. All right. Ignorance. Why does the Goyim say ignorance? And I understand the response 100%.
I mean, because it is ignorant. They don't have a clear understanding of who they hate and why they are holding them down or back. They think it's for one reason, but it's all been indoctrination and indoctrined into them.
Yes. So they think that everything's total opposites. They think that, well, first off, they're ignorant of who they are. They're ignorant of who we are. They think that we're a burden and have been a burden on America. They think that we're riding the welfare system. They think that we're
Set up for
benefiting
them.
from right. They think that we're benefiting from DEI the most. They think that we're violent criminals, savages, uneducated, non-human. To your point,
Our melanin is the weapon.
yeah, and they think we're out to get them.
They think we're gonna do to them what they did to us.
Well, I've been wrong in a lot of these polls, quote unquote. Last two polls, one done by Mouthpiece included. Um, big ups to the viewers. Ignorance. I guess that's probably the best way. Yeah, because ignorance creates the fear. If they had the knowledge, they wouldn't be afraid. They'd probably still be jealous. They could still be jealous, but they shouldn't have the hatred.
Jealousy can very, very easily lead to hatred.
It sure can. It's all rooted in hatred. Miliak said the ignorance of not understanding we're all Homo sapien. Speaking of Homo sapien, did you hear your quarterback? He's come out of the closet and says he's an autosexual.
Uh-oh. Well, I, I'll say this. What he eats doesn't make me defecate.
Poop. Okay. All right.
And who he has sex with doesn't make me come. So I'm not concerned with that. As long as he performs on the field out there.
Well, okay. Somebody put it in the chat, and Mouthpiece included. I had never even heard of the toy. I had Ace fact check it. And they only get pleasure from themselves. Okay. He was seen at the Met Gala with a supermodel who's also an out the closet autosexual. So I guess they just sit around and touch themselves in the presence of each other. I don't really know how that works. I got to do more research. And he linked it. I said, okay, so now check and, put our quarterback's name in there next to autosexual. And sure enough, I don't care either, man, but bro, get in the playbook, bro.
That'll be in the playbook.
I mean, bro, man, I know these modern day guys and they're what do you call them? Metrosexual. They're classic men. I'm not knocking them. I promise you I'm not. But bro, your main thing is football. And I just don't hear you talking enough about football, bro.
Well, I'm not really interested in hearing him talk.
That guy said, uh-oh. How did he know what an autosexual was, huh?
Me either. And that's why I said, uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, boy. They got so many terms, man. Big ups to the millennials and Gen Z.
No ups to that.
No?
No, stop all of that.
Language evolves, though, bro. Language has to evolve. I've come up with the term thick. I invented that back in 1983, 83. Nobody wants to give me credit.
Well, they've hijacked thick.
Yeah.
Now it means fat.
They hijack everything. All right, fella. Anything else you wanted to add to this, man?
No, I'll leave it in my
Find a way to out there.
Yeah.
All right. The views expressed in today's podcast are those of the host, guests, and not necessarily reflective of TATN or ESPN or any of our affiliates. Once again, I want to big up the sponsors. Midwest Festivals presents Ancestral Echoes. Y'all, it's coming. It's coming fast, man. The deals are going fast. That link is in the chat. Tay Mills Aesthetics, Multicultural Skin, Body, and Weight Loss Pro. The link is in the chat, www.taymillsaesthetics.com, 213-290-4150. Bella B Designs, 365@gmail.com. That's for your t-shirt needs. And when you need a toe and you got to go, and call Jim Recovery. Okay. You need a toe in Chicago, call Jim Recovery. Wire Moore's worldwide, feared, demonized, demonetized, and alienated. That's what we broke down today. The history of the people of Kemet is more than a tale of conquest and influence. It is a story of true resilience, brilliance, and deep-rooted knowledge that continues to challenge mainstream narratives. Big ups to all the ancestors. I stand on your shoulders. Our legacy has been obscured, our impact minimized, and our identity twisted into fear-based myths and lies. But why? Is it an attempt to suppress a truth that disrupts accepted history? Or is it simply a reflection of jealousy toward a people whose wisdom and power transcend generations? Throughout time, powerful forces have sought to erase those who wield knowledge that empowers rather than enslaves. The Moors, with their mastery of science, spirituality, nature, represent a lineage that cannot be confined to history books or forgotten ruins. Their alienation may not just be about race or politics, but about something far more deeper, far more spiritual. An unspoken recognition that their presence signifies something lost or hidden from modern civilization. Yet suppression does not equate to disappearance. Our influence still whispers through culture, architecture, and the very foundation of scientific thought. Those who seek understanding will find that the fear and dismissal of the copper-colored people in the world reveal more about society's insecurities than their own nature. This question is not simply why we are feared, but what our continued existence means for the world today. Stay curious, stay informed, stay aware, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay true to self. Also, love yourself and others around you deeply. Remember, ask not what our culture can do for you, but what you can do for our culture. Silence is violence, and continue questioning everything. The Self Love Show ain't cancer's Toto. Peer down those rabbit holes and do your own research. Use caution and discernment, because sometimes when you stare into the abyss, that abyss stares right back at you. Peace, self-love, gratitude, honor, and respect. All right, fella. We got the riddle. I walk with wisdom, ancient and deep, though history tries to put me to sleep. Feared and revered, yet seldom seen. What am I and what do I mean? Brother Wordsmith?
The Moors.
What was that?
The Moors?
That's right. The Moors, y'all. The Moors and their legacy. Yeah, that's it. Next week, we'll see if we can get a guest up in the building. Otherwise, we're going to continue 187 bars with P&B Rock. We didn't go with that this week, but we'll see if we can get Track Mac back.
Sure, be good.
All right, and then Sunday, Spolly Tricks. We got a lot to unpack there. That's sports and politics. You can pull up. Charles Newman said, racism, the competitive relationship between groups of people competing for ownership or control of wealth and resources.
That would be what's that brother's name?
The one with Powernomics?
Yes.
Yeah. Why can't I think of his name? Yeah, but Spotty Tricks and TLC, he's laughing about something. Big ups to TLC is in the building.
Yes,
Yeah, big ups. All right, and then Spotty Tricks, y'all pull up. We're gonna talk sports and some politics on Sunday. That's live. And then that brings me to my personal favorite part of the whole shebang, and that's gonna be Wordsmith's final. Get us some more beats for this thing, Brother Wordsmith. I'm sure you can pull some tracks out of your bum. Wordsmith's final words out there.
Powernomics is Claude Anderson.
Yeah, Dr. Claude Anderson.
Facts. The Moors. Who were they? When did they come upon the scene? They always been there? It's a so-called 6th century reign. We don't know the truth because it ain't made plain. The losers wrote the history. That's why it's not actual or factual. That's why it's always attacking you. Knowledge of self, wealth, what you've done has been corrupted to make it look like you've done none. I don't get that, son. Our people worldwide have taken all this BS in stride, dealt with it. We didn't run and hide. Had people that even spied upon this evil and their plans. And had the nerve to make demands. The sands of time make a way. Enemy in our path, we slay. So get out our way. Leave us alone to our own desires, to our own passions, which you admire. Act like you hate, but you love us to death. Literally. Your way has always been hazardous to our health. Yet we succeed and we rise. Give you a great big surprise. How we see through your lies. You think you're better. And that's all alleged. Better at what? Words. That would be words.
Word. Words. All right. We got another way to close this out today. I think. All right, here we go. Yes. And close this out with a message to the pink man.
I've got one that can see.
A message to the pink man. Written by the ancestors of 9 Mills. Read by the Black Terminator. This is a thought experiment. TATN. Pink man, pink man, pink man. Close your eyes. Imagine. Now imagine if the melanated people during the days of antiquity traveled to your motherland from Africa, and you welcomed us with open arms, showed us your customs, your mathematics, your art, your nature, how to survive and how to flourish in your homeland. But whether through human kindness, ignorance, or sheer naivete, for some reason, your non-melanated kind couldn't sense that we sent you our murderers, rapists, pedophiles. We opened up our prisons and sent these quote, end quote, crusaders to you with a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other. Everyday confidence men. They came to poison you with our sugars, our flus and pox. They were sent to rape your men, your women, and your children. Infected your land with a foreign tongue, false religion, and weapons of self-destruction. You see the trees being clear-cut, the soil eroding from over-farming, the animals that you love, kindred to your ancestors, being slaughtered to extinction. Cookie-cutter homes are being built on top of your sacred burial grounds. Now you're at a crossroads. Rather than see your entire lineage suffer the same fate of the animals, you succumb to the tragedy. You acquiesce. You make deals and concessions in hopes that someday at least your cultures can merge and maybe you can be seen as a kinsman. Oh, Mr. Pink Man, but fast forward 400, 500 years or so later, you're still treated like cattle. Instead of plantations, you're stuck in private-owned prisons.
Lights out.
And the melanated rule the world. They've become rich beyond mental conception. $2.3 trillion can disappear from taxpayer money and no one says anything. Because it was the Pentagon. You can live with that. You come home after a long day at work, maybe you had to work 2 jobs or a full-time job and a part-time job just to make ends meet so that you can try to put food on the table in spite of all the negative imagery about you and your non-melanated kind. Turn to the news and there you have it again. Another non-melanated gang member thug, white nationalist terrorist in silver bracelets doing the perp walk for the world to see. And you know when he shows up to court in front of the melanated media cameras, represented by a melanated public defender, in front of a melanated judge, facing a melanated district attorney, representing a melanated people. Lo and behold, 12 melanated jurors of your unmelanated peers give your non-melanated kinsman a quote-unquote fair trial. The frustration. You turn to a sports network and lo and behold, another white or non-melanated athlete. Maybe he plays tennis or golf or even baseball. Well, let's say he plays hockey. And he was raised in a trailer park somewhere. Now he's assaulted his wife, allegedly, and is plastered all over the media. Why? Why is this news? Then the melanated pundits say that he deserves to be thrown under the jail. Presumption of guilt. He's guilty because of his lack of melanin. Time and time and time again. You've seen it. Your parents have seen it. Your parents' parents have seen it. Your parents' parents have seen it. All the way back to chattel slavery and before. And I think you might know where I'm going with this. If you truly have a soul. Mr. Pinkman, keep your eyes closed. And as for your non-melanated brethren, your non-melanated kinsmen, they're all asleep. They suffer from Stockholm Syndrome, PTSD, horrible school systems funded by the melanated. The stress of living in violent communities has allowed them to be hypnotized into believing that they are their own enemy. Imagine if when you ever tried to speak out about this genocide or inequality, or at least perception, your perception, I'll give you that. You might be speaking out, but this is work. This is no place for that kind of talk. This is church. This is no place for that kind of talk. You're pulling the race card. Shut up and swing at a hockey puck. Never mind that the melanated literally profited from the sweat of your ancestors. Let's forget about the prisons. 85% non-melanated, your kinsmen. And I look at you and I say, well, you need to work. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps like my ancestors did. And you work hard over time and save money and build your credit up, and you walk into a bank to start a business so you can feed your family and create jobs for other non-melanated people. But lo and behold, the bank is melanated, and they've drawn an imaginary red line around your community where you can't get funding. And let's say in spite of all of that, you do build a community. It gets destroyed. Violence and terror. I ask you, Mr. Pink Man, how would you feel after 5 centuries or so? Really? How would you feel? More importantly, what would you do? Terminator. I'll be black.